Hey. Check this out. I don't need it. Good morning, Day. Must be Mason. You know, I guess he feel like he gotta hop in on my live or whatever. Okay. As you guys can see, we are in a new space. I am not at my dining room table. I'm actually in my office because my son is home from school and apparently he has main character energy. And so it's got to be all about him. So I came into my office for a little space and privacy. How are y'all doing today? Are y'all ready for this discussion? For those of you guys that's going to come back that might not catch it live, but you're going to come back and watch it at a later date. I just got some Palo Santo just to ground my energy, just because this morning, I don't know. I don't know. This morning, these people. You know what? Let's ground first. Let's ground because all right, so today's topic. Today we're actually gonna, instead of just going live and centering and grounding, we're actually going to chat, okay? And hopefully talking about this might help whoever, like, share and subscribe. Because there's plenty more videos where this one is coming from. And yeah, you guys will get notifications when I go live, when I post a short, a live, or even just in the community. Okay. Today, we are going to be discussing dating in a new city as a woman, and ways that you can kind of keep yourself safe, okay? Because let's talk about it. First and foremost, dating is scary already, right? It can be overwhelming just because you don't really know who you're getting. Everybody's got a representative, right? And a lot of people, a lot of times, they don't really show you who they are until, you are knee deep involved, right? So. All right, so again, I got some notes here that I was working on. So because we're actually talking about a topic and I want to kind of stay on task, you might see me looking at my notes that I have in my Apple phone. You might see me, reading and then engaging with you guys, okay? So today, we're going to talk about dating in a new city. Hello, shout out to the girls that's out here, just getting back out here, life after divorce, right? You got it, girl. You got it, girl. You got it. I'm joking. Okay. So staying safe while dating as a woman in a new city requires a few things, okay? It requires you to be mindful. It requires you to set boundaries, and it requires you to be safe and to take precautions, right? Especially if it's just you. Especially if it's just you and like your children and you didn't move down, to a brand new city with your significant other or anything like that, or even like friends or family, because you don't really have anybody that you can run to, right? So, you really have to take extra precaution when you're dating in a new city if it's just you down, in the city where you're at, especially if you haven't like gotten out and made friends or anything like that. So, here are some essential steps that will help you feel safe and confident as you're navigating through the dating scene, okay? First and foremost, one of the things that I suggest is meeting in a public place. Meeting in a public place. That's very essential when you're just meeting somebody. Say you're at the grocery store or you're out and about with your girlfriends and you meet a guy and he seems nice, but you really don't know who you're dealing with. You really don't know what to expect. You really don't know if this guy is a safe person, right? You definitely want to meet where there's a crowd. So for the first few dates, what you're going to do is you're going to meet in public settings like a coffee shop, which is, let's just talk about that, right? A coffee date, that's a speed coffee date where you're maybe only sitting down talking for like an hour or so, just to kind of chit chat an hour or two, getting to know somebody. That's an ideal date, especially for me. Take me on a coffee date. Let's sit down and talk. Let's laugh. Let me see, because honestly, dating is collecting information. Let me collect this information so I can decide if you are the kind of person that I want to spend my time with, or I want to open myself up to, getting to know, right? Or even giving my number to. So coffee shop dates are top tier, if you ask me. But, so meeting in public places, like for the first few dates, you want to meet at like coffee shops, restaurants, or even outdoor events where it's light, it's lit, it's daytime. Never go to dinner first date, ever. Ever go to dinner on the first date. No, do lunch, do breakfast, right? Or even like an outdoor event. The environment is safer. It provides a natural escape routes, right? And it make it easier to get to know the person and to feel comfortable in a comfortable setting, right? And at that point, you can decide, okay, you know what, I kind of like you, even though we're still gonna, go on, be out in the open, public dates and things like that. I'm still gonna be careful. I'm still gonna be cautious because people, I'm sorry, I sound like my son was crying. You just never know who you're getting, right? One thing my grandmother taught me is that people don't show the real them, or you don't really know somebody until you either move in with them and you're living together, or until after you're married, okay? And trust me, that's when you see the true colors of anybody. And that's when, you kind of get the real person. I know I did in my marriage, So those are things that I can suggest when you're first meeting somebody, when you first want to get to know somebody, or you see a guy with some good energy, a nice little swag, or, who's handsome, or whatever the case may be. Meet out in the open, meet in public, okay? Also, the next thing that you can do, another thing that you can do is to tell a friend, right, or family member about your date. Me personally, I love a private life. I'm at the stage in my life where I like to keep everything private. So you might not know who I'm dating until I'm pregnant and married, or you might not know who I'm dating until it gets serious, because it ain't everybody's business, and not everybody mean you well, not everybody wish you well. So, and then you have to be careful because you have people who, don't want to see you happy, don't want to see you in a relationship, or you might have somebody side eyeing your man, like, I want to give him some of this, you know what I mean? Or what is she don't know what she don't know, so not everybody has the best intentions. So for me, I like to keep my business private. That's where I'm at in my life. However, you have to have somebody that you can trust, right? Like, hey, I'm going out on a date for the first time. Take a picture of that license plate secretly, take a picture of the car, take a picture of his face without him seeing, just so if anything happened, him or her, because women can be crazy too, right? Just in case anything happened, so that way somebody at least have your location, your whereabouts, or what the person looked like, what they were driving, that license plate number, just in case, right? I know that I might be pulling it out the back of my brain, but it was a couple years ago. A woman went on a date with a guy, and it was a pretty good day, and you could see them at go walking into restaurants. You could see them, on the cameras, when they were kind of doing the discovery or trying to figure out what happened to her. You can see them having a really good time, laughing. And then I think the mistake that she made was either going to a hotel with him or going back to his place. However the case may be, you see them walking out together, and you see him going to buy a suitcase wherever he was buying it from, and then leave it out of where they had initially walked into with the suitcase, but without her. Her body was in the suitcase. So you really, really, really have to be careful. Let people know where you're going, okay? So I would tell a family or friend, a family member where you're going. Share the details of your date with a trusted family or friend, including where you're going, who you're meeting, and the time that you're expected to return, okay? You can even check in during the date and let them know how the date is going. If it went left, if it's good, if it's, if you feel safe, or if something is happening and maybe your skin is starting to crawl, or the hairs on your arms is your body is starting to respond and let you know that something not right, right? So tell somebody that you can trust. Keep them informed. Another thing that you can do that I suggest, and one of the things that's really big with me, is to trust your instincts, girl, guy, friend, whoever you are. Trust your instincts. Your body will tell you, your body will respond, even in the energy of other people, right? If something don't feel right, it's not right. Trust your gut and leave the situation. Your intuition is a powerful tool when it comes to navigating potentially unsafe situations, right? Our body will respond. We just have to listen. It's nothing worse to getting yourself, it's nothing more scary than getting yourself in a situation that you did not prepare for, right? For instance, you go off with a guy and all of a sudden, he becomes forceful, right? And now you're in a situation, you didn't plan for that. And now you got to try to fight yourself out of a situation. How scary is that, right? I don't ever want to be in that situation. So, trust your instinct. If it feels off, then it is. If your body is telling you, your heart, your gut, like I said, the hairs, you start to feel uneasy or getting this unsettling feeling, trust it. Trust it. It will save your life. Okay. The fifth thing that I want to suggest is limit all personal information. Keep your personal information quiet, such as where you live. One of the things that's real big for me, even when I was back in Ohio, not everybody knew where I stayed. And the minute somebody thought that they was about to try to finagle that information. That ain't none of your business, sir. Sorry. And I'm a person, I don't even like everybody over my house because I like to protect my space. I like to protect my energy. My home is my safe space. So keep that information private, right? Because you never know what kind of stalker you might have on your hand. So keep the information private, your personal information private, such as your home address, your financial details, where you work, until you develop a trustworthy connection. Avoid oversharing. And that's one of the biggest things. I tell myself all the time, I talk too much. And not with, the opposite sex or anything like that, because I'm like very, at least I try to be cautious, and aware of my surroundings. But I talk too much when it's just conversation with, women and colleagues or coworkers and stuff like that. Sometimes I overshare what I want them to know. I talk too much in a sense, right? Because, like I said, not everybody mean you well. And so not everybody needs to know what you're doing. Not everybody needs to know what your plans are. And sometimes, depending on who it is, I can, overshare. And then afterwards, I'm like, I probably shouldn't have said that because that person didn't sound too happy that this was going good for me. Or that person stabbed me in the back for this situation. Or, you know what I mean? Just because they felt like they should have had said thing, right? I can't remember what video that I was watching. I can't remember what it was, but I know that I was watching a video. It might have been on YouTube because I've been off of all socials for a minute, just to kind of like, ground and get my mind right. And I got some things that I'm working on personally, personal development things that I'm doing. So, but I remember I was watching a video and a woman was sharing that she keeps some things private for the simple fact that her mom shared a story with her about when she was younger and about her the mom going to maybe like a dance or something like that, or school related. And apparently she told her, shared it with her friend, and her friend was like, the mom did at a young age, was like, well, how are you doing that? Because, they both come from low income where the parents didn't really have a lot of money and things like that. And she's like, oh, because I do this, I babysit, and this is how I'm going to do it. And this is how much the dress that I want is going to cost me. And this is how I'm going to get the money. And the daughter shared that the mom, when she was younger, got a call from, or never got a call back from the people that she was babysitting for to earn the money. And come to find out, the friend that she told that she was working for the couple went to the couple and told them, yeah, such and such is not going to be able to babysit for you anymore. But she said for me to take the job. And that girl took her opportunity, earned the money, went to the dance, you know what I mean? And she basically took, destiny swapped the girl's opportunity and took that from her. So for me, I'm learning to just keep some things private. So limit your personal information, limit like I said, your home address, your financial details, keep it private until you know that you can trust that person. Avoid oversharing on the first few dates and focus on getting to know the person rather than revealing too much about yourself too soon. Right? Not everybody deserves that information. Not everybody deserves to have that much access to you. And doing that will in turn keep you safe. Okay. Hopefully. The sixth thing that I want to talk about is to have an exit plan, right? I know we've seen in the movies a lot of the times where you got a few girlfriends and they're going on date, and the girlfriends are dating, and they'll reach out, they'll tell the girlfriend, hey, if the date's not going good, I'll have you call me and say it's an emergency. Bam, exit plan, okay? So have an exit plan. Plan your exit strategy in case you feel uncomfortable or the date is going poorly. This could mean texting a friend to call you at a certain time, faking an urgent reason to leave, or simply being prepped to leave without feeling obligated to explain, okay? So, you know what? Something came up, I'm going to have to go. And or setting a time block. That was another thing that I learned by doing my research and things like that. Set a time block. Okay, our date is going to be from this time to this time, and stick to it, right? Unless the date is going bad, then leave early. Have an exit plan, have somebody call you at this time, but however the case may be, have an exit plan just in case things start to go south, okay? And always carry your own money. Sis, always have your own money. Nothing worse, especially now, in the social media era, where you see girls who have standards, or certain women who have like certain standards, and the guy will fly them out or go on trips and things like that, and then expect to, get some nookie in return for, while on the trip. And maybe she's like, that's not really where I'm at, or, that's not really what I wanted to do. And he's like, okay, well, find your own way home. Sis, you need to be able to be like, bet, book that trip and get the fuck out of there, okay? Always have your own money. Always have your own cash, right? Because you just never know what may happen. And you have to be prepared, when you're on a date. For me, I like to drive myself, but we'll talk about that, okay? So have an exit plan. Stay sober. That's the next thing. Stay sober, or limit your drinking. Limit what you're having, and keep your drink with you at all times. Yes, I paused. Stay sober and or keep your drink with you at all times, right? People spike drinks all the time. And think about even everything that we're hearing in the media regarding certain celebrities. The women didn't know that they was being drugged. You know what I mean? So, and even if you have to I remember one time I was at a bar with one of my girlfriends, and she was kind of talking to the guy that was, to my left, and there was another man to my right who came up to the bar to order a drink. And he was like, oh, well, what are you drinking? And, Merlot is, my wine of choice. And I was like, oh, I'll just have a Merlot. And the lady gave the bottle of Merlot, and he was like, here, I'll open it. And it was just the way he twisted the bottle. I didn't drink it. He twisted the cap. And for me, my spidey senses went up. And I was just like, oh, well, thank you so much. And, he sat there for a second trying to hold conversation, but I wasn't really interested. And that entire night was a really weird night for me. So yes, like watch your drinks. Watch your drinks when you're out in public, or when you're dating. Keep your drinks with you. Avoid drinking excessively on a date, especially with someone that you just met, right? Because then, you know, you kind of your perception kind of get distorted, right? Me, I know when I'm with my girlfriends and we're having a good time, my hair get let down and I'm having a good time and I'm enjoying myself. But if you drink too much, you might end up partaking in some stuff that you didn't even plan for, or God forbid, be taken advantage of when you had no intentions on even going that route. You just wanted to, let your hair down. So, avoid drinking obsessively. Keep your drink in sight and never accept a drink from someone you have not seen, that you did not see prepared. Now, even for me, the guy who was like, "Oh, here, I'll open it for you," the like I said, the bartender she was passing me the drink, and he was like, "Here, I got it," and it was just the way he opened it. Like, he could have popped the top, dropped something in real quick, and it was Merlot. So we all know, Merlot is, a red color. It's a wine. So for me, it just felt uneasy. And so again, going back to, the tips that we already talked about, trust your instinct, right? For me, I trusted my instinct and it just did not feel safe. And I didn't drink it, I left it there. That's one of the things that one of my girlfriends, my best friend, taught me. Just because somebody buy you a drink don't mean you have to drink it. You're not obligated to drink it. They bought it, but you don't have to drink it, right? So I have learned to leave it there. And if you need to step away, while you're drinking, or just, give yourself a minute, or go to the powder room, or use the restroom, whatever the case may be, take your drink with you, or order a new one, right? Yeah, because you just never know. And some people, they don't respect no, and they don't respect who you are. And some people have their own agenda. So you just have to stay safe, right? I would hate for anybody to end up in a situation that they didn't plan for. Okay? Set boundaries. Next thing we're going to talk about is setting boundaries early, right? Make sure you set boundaries. Make sure that your boundaries are clear from the beginning, whether they're physical contact, the pace of the relationship, or how much personal information you want to share. Respectful dates will appreciate your boundaries, and this helps prevent uncomfortable situations later. So, that's one of the things in my dating history that I've learned in my journey in general, is to set boundaries, but especially with dating. I remember that there was a guy that I was talking to back in Ohio, and we were talking about going out for breakfast, and he was like, "Yeah, I can't wait to like rub on your thigh." I don't know why he thought that was something that I would be open to, but I guess those are the kind of women that he was used to dating, or used to encountering. But for me, I was like, no, you would keep your hands to yourself unless I invited you to touch me. And I haven't invited you to touch me. But he was so adamant about sitting on the side of me instead of being on the date back and across from me, what I'm used to. And unless I'm in a relationship, and being so close in my personal space. And for me, I set the boundary. Needless to say, once I set that boundary, we never went out on a date. And I was okay with that, because he wasn't the kind of person that I wanted to open up myself to anyway. But yeah, set those boundaries early, right? The physical contact, the knowing your information. Another guy that I was dating asked me where I stayed, and I was like, I don't let people know where I stay. And he was like, "Oh, people don't just have I don't just give my address out. I'm a woman. I mean, I'm a smart woman and I'm an independent woman, and I also know how to protect myself. So you can show up if you want to. But then I also, for me, God gave me boys. My boys don't play about their mom. And so, that's also another thing that I had that protection because, I I have sons who are, very protective of their mother. So, but yeah, setting those boundaries. Make sure you set those boundaries, like I said, from the beginning, with the physical contact and things like that, and then just your personal information, and make sure they're respectful. And listen, when you set those boundaries, you will weed out those who don't need to be in your space or those who don't need to be in your energy. You will weed them out because people will try to push past your boundaries until you enforce them. And once you enforce those boundaries, they'll be like, oh, okay, she's not. I don't know. She was just too stuck up. I'm okay with being stuck up because I didn't ask you to touch me. I didn't invite you to, one, in my personal space. You're way too close. And I didn't invite you to touch me. So set those boundaries early, okay? Now, for those of you guys who are okay with like dating apps and things like that, I would suggest to use those with caution, okay? If you're meeting people from the dating app, do your research. One of the things that I like to do is I like to pull information. I don't mind doing a little background check, you know? And then also to look for red flags in their profile. Or conversations, and use video calls. If you're meeting people, it's like blind dating. If that's what you're going to do, I personally am not open to meeting anybody on an app. But if that's what you're going to do, video call. Make sure that you have several connections or several conversations before you actually do meet. And then when you do meet, make it a public place, right? Don't go to anybody's home. Unless that's what you're about, you know what I mean? Like, but don't just go to anybody's home the first date, okay? And then, like I said, trust your instincts when it feels off or if it feels off, right? To each his own. I guess, there are people who are really good people who just maybe they have a little social anxiety. So they find, apps to be a little bit more feasible for them, or a little bit more controllable for them. Excuse me. So to each his own, but just use your instincts. Okay, be smart about it. And then the next thing that I want to suggest for you guys who are dating and things like that, avoid isolated locations for first dates. Okay, again, that's like going to somebody's home on the very first date. To each his own. If that's what you're comfortable with doing, maybe you carry. But me, like I don't want to go to anybody because first of all, there's no telling who's there. There's no telling how many people are there, and there's no telling what kind of situation you're walking into. So avoid isolated locations for the first date. Steer clear of all isolated and secluded places for early dates, such as remote parks or even private homes. These locations can feel unsafe, especially when you don't know the person as well. Choose well-populated, well-lit areas, okay? That way you're safe. And, if something does kind of feel off, you have people around, hopefully, that will step in and intervene in the event of your safety, gets violated or anything like that. Okay. Or you start to feel unsafe or uneasy, right? Hopefully. I know nowadays people, they take out their phones and they record instead of helping. So, hopefully that doesn't happen. Also, another thing that you can do is to take note of your date's details, like have an idea of the person's full name, where they work, and other key details. which can be helpful if anything goes wrong. Like I said, take a picture of that license plate. Sneak a picture of them, right? And that's one of the things me and my girlfriend talked about. Like, for me, when dating in a new city, and then also, like I said, keep people updated, keep people informed, and then I stopped sharing my location with everybody, for personal reasons, just because I was called to do that. But if you got somebody that you can trust, share your location with that person that you can trust, okay? And then send that information. I even had my girlfriend who lived in Texas years ago when she was dating, she sent me a picture of a license plate, like, I'm going on a date. And I was like, bet, you know what I'm saying? She didn't send me her location, but I had the license plate, I had the person's name, excuse me. So yeah, you just got to be careful. And then also, don't ignore them red flags. So many times we look past the red flags. So many times we're like, oh, but he's just so cute. Oh, but he's so respectful. Oh, but he got big muscles. Oh, but he got a beard. Oh, but this. Oh, but that. No. Pay attention to the red flags. Pay attention to any red flags, such as overly aggressive behavior. Like the guy that I told you about, and we were kind of planning on going on a date. And he was like, yeah, well, I can't wait to do this and I can't wait to do that. And I was just like, excuse me, sir, that's not going to happen. And I had another guy that was like, oh, I can't wait to kiss your lips. Sir, people have herpes. I'm sorry, but I don't just go around just kissing everybody. You know what I mean? Because, you might contract something that you can't get rid of. And God knows, that would be another situation, right? So, no, you have to, like I said, set those boundaries, and enforce them. So, pay attention to overly aggressive behavior, a lack of respect for your boundaries, or even like uncomfortable comments. Like I told you about the guy said he wanted to rub all over me. No, sir, it's not going to happen. I didn't invite you to touch me. Please don't touch me. Please don't touch me. And if I have to say it more than once, then it's not going to be a please don't touch me. It's going to be, please get the fuck off me. Don't put your hands on me, because then I can get aggressive, right? Especially when I feel threatened, right? Excuse my French. But yeah, so if something feels off, don't hesitate to be like, you know what, this date is over. I'm sorry. Leave money and walk away. Go away. And then have somebody walk you to your car. Have somebody follow you to your car. And or I seen another video where a girl, she started recording and the guy was literally trying to get in her car, but she was live. And she's like, look, y'all see this guy? I don't know him. He's following me to my car. And this man was really trying. He was every time she unlocked the door, he was at the passenger side trying to get in. People are crazy. Don't ignore them red flags, right? Another thing that I want to suggest is let people know when you made it home, because you can't just leave people in the wind. If they're aware that you're dating or that you're on a date or that you've met somebody and that and especially if you're like me and you're in a new city alone, you have people like, okay, all right. And even if they might not have your location, so you don't want to leave people worried, right? So let somebody know when you made it home after your date. Text your friend or your family member that you found safe to know, who you're with or that you're dating. And then let them know that you made it safely at home. Take the extra steps to give you peace of mind, but then also them peace of mind about your whereabouts, okay? And then another thing, trust your comfort zone. That's one of my biggest things. I always say, if something don't sit well with my soul, I'm not doing it, right? So if you feel rushed or pressured or uncomfortable, trust that. Don't push past that, right? Because if it's that urgent, find somebody else to do it, right? If it's something that is, that or we gotta do behind that, right? There's a reason. I don't care what it is. It could be a job. And if my intuition say this don't feel right, but this thing or this entity or this person is rushing me to do something, why? Right? Why? That's a red flag. Because, I should be able to sit with something to know if this is what I want to partake in or this is what I want to do, right? So if you feel rushed or pressured or uncomfortable, trust that you are in control when you're dating. Understand that you have the right to say yes, no, maybe, okay, or I'm leaving and this is it. Nobody make you your boundaries. Don't let nobody make you feel bad for the choices that you decide, for the things that you decide to do or don't do, right? So you are in control of your dating experience, and you can always choose to slow things down or walk away if it don't feel right to you. Like I said, don't allow people to make you feel like, oh, you're such a lame, or you're so scary, or you're such a homo. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Because everything is on my own terms. I decide how I want my life to go. And the minute I give my power away and allow somebody else to dictate how things are going to go in my life, will be the day that something happens and I'll be sitting there with regret, right? So no. One of my biggest things that I give you guys permission, to do, or even that I suggest, is self-defense. No, I'm just playing. Self-defense. I mean, if you have to carry your concealed weapon, mace, a knife, or anything, just in case. Because think about it. As a woman, I have an awareness that for the most part, most men are going to be a lot stronger than me. So my fist might not be enough to stop him if things turn left, right? But Diamond might be able to, right? Or, even having like a knife or something like that. Because I mean, a knife, you got to get close up on somebody. You got to be close enough in the event of you had to defend yourself. I mean, I'm not promoting violence. I'm promoting safety. So, carry your concealed weapon, use pepper spray, or even a whistle, or a personal alarm, or anything like that. Or even apps. I know that a lot of the Uber apps or Lyft apps, they have a safety tool inside of the app that you can press if you get a crazy driver. And anytime I've ever taken a Lyft, that app is open and ready. I'm sitting there, and when I was taking Lyfts, the route information will be sent to one of my girlfriends. Like, they would know, or somebody that I trusted who would be watching where I'm going and where I'm supposed to go, just in case there's any detours that happen. Because again, people have their own agenda, and some people, they're not right in the head. So you really have to be careful when you're dating, or when you're interacting with people, especially people that you just met. So some safety apps offer features like sharing your location with a trusted friend, and then, alerting your emergency contact when you're in danger. One of the things that I appreciate with Apple is that it has like a safety feature that on your phone, and I have that set up. Actually, I think I accidentally hit it a couple times. Back, I was still in Ohio though. And for my emergency contacts, all you have to do is like hit the buttons, and an alert, your location, a message is sent to your emergency contact, right? So have those things in place, when you're dating. And, as a woman, or again, women can be aggressive too, as a man, or whoever you are that's dating or is back out in the dating field and things like that. Okay. So by staying vigilant and prepared, you can enjoy dating in your new city, and not be afraid, right? You don't want to live in fear. You don't want your fear of the unknown or the possibilities to stop you from enjoying life. Why would you do that? But there's things that you can do and put in place to protect you while also enjoying your life, okay? While also getting back out there and making yourself open or available and you know, to, you know, possibly attract in a new relationship, right? Again, you know, have fun, be smart, protect yourself, and yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to stick up for yourself. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself, and don't let people make you feel guilty, you know, when you set those boundaries, okay? So I hope this message resonated. If it did, give me a like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button, because there's going to be plenty more videos where this one came from. And I hope to see you on my next one. Bye.